Now to India, where a major economic shift is underway. It's about the GST, that's India's Goods and Services Tax. This is the country's main consumption tax. Last week, the government rolled out big changes. GST rates were cut across the board. It covers 99% of all goods and services used in India. They're covered in the reform, 99%. Now, after this reform, they're supposed to get cheaper. The new rates come into effect on the 22nd of September. But there is a catch. Industry leaders are not celebrating yet. They are, in fact, worried about these tax cuts. They're not sure how this will work in practice and if they can actually pass on the benefits to consumers. Many industry leaders are skeptical. They fear that their own costs could go up. And at the center of this concern is something called the input tax credit. Now, what's the input tax credit? Let me try and explain that. India has slashed GST rates across sectors, from dairy and education supplies to life-saving drugs and insurance. In theory, this should make goods cheaper. But in practice, the relief may never reach consumers, and here is why. When a business pays tax on its raw materials, it claims it back. That refund is called the input tax credit, or ITC. It helps avoid double taxation. So as a business, you pay tax only on the value that you add and not on the entire supply chain. But now that system is being stretched. Many finished goods, from notebooks to paneer, are now taxed at 0% GST on the finished product. But the inputs that go into them, the raw materials that go into them, still attract 18% GST. So manufacturers may not be able to recover the taxes that they pay. Here's another example. Earlier, paneer or Indian cottage cheese was taxed at 5%. If you're a manufacturer, you could claim tax credit on packaging, on transport, and on storage. But now paneer is exempt. The GST is gone. But so is the tax credit. That is also gone. The tax refund you got on stuff like packaging, transport, and storage of paneer is gone. And that is a problem, because this extra cost will now come out of the manufacturer's pocket. They would end up paying more tax. They won't be able to pass it on or pass on the benefits to the consumers. So there will be no real price drop for you, the buyer. That is the fear. And this applies to industries like healthcare, education, insurance, and some parts of real estate and FMCG. That is fast-moving consumer goods, your daily items. These are the industries raising concerns. They say they may not be able to reduce their prices if the tax credits are gone. And this could defeat the main purpose of the reform, because the idea was quite simple: cut taxes and bring down prices of goods and services. This is one of the biggest selling points of the reform. Today, India has 4 tax slabs: 5, 12, 18, and 28%. The plan is to remove 2 slabs, 12 and 28%. So most goods will be taxed at 5 or 18%.
I'll give you this number, which is important. 99% of all the goods and services which are touched by GST are now either in 0 or in 5 or in 18. That's right. There's nothing beyond. So that 1% is what makes for the demerit goods, right, which popular parlance says sin goods. Yeah.
A small selection of items like luxury and sin goods will be taxed differently. We're talking about goods like tobacco. They will face a 40% tax. The new system rolls out on the 22nd of November. Like I said, that's 22nd of September. That's 13 days from now. So the government has time to address these concerns. Reports say officials are holding meetings. Bureaucrats from different ministries are exploring solutions, and more clarity could emerge in the days ahead. You see, GST reforms are a bet on India's economic resilience, the fact that Indian consumers can step up and mitigate the impact of global shocks, like the trade war and sluggish global growth projections. India remains the world's fastest growing major economy. We grew at 7.8% in the last quarter. That's an encouraging number. But India cannot afford complacency at this point, because there are points of concern too. For instance, the demand for gold is down. It has dropped by more than 25%. That's the sharpest decline in 3 years. and it breaks the usual pattern. Traditionally, Indian families buy gold during the festive season. It is seen as auspicious. For generations, gold has been a way to store wealth, a safety net for the future. So what has changed this time? Well, the prices are too high. Gold prices have jumped 49% compared to last year. That could be one reason people are holding back. But there may be some relief ahead. The GST cut could free up household budgets. Families may save more on daily spending. That could boost overall sentiment, maybe even revive the demand for gold. As always, it all comes down to one thing: implementation. On paper, these reforms are great, but the real test lies in how they're brought into practice.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
$4 以上mo.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.